Yeah, I'll confess that Wednesday night I was feeling pretty good about the Bulls' chances, and it felt relatively rational to do so. Alex Caruso was out for Monday night, but he was going to be back in the lineup. Even more notable and significant was that Nikola Vucevic was going to be back in the lineup after missing almost 2 weeks due to COVID. So you have two key cogs in your rotation, two key cogs in your machine are going to be back in the lineup for the Bulls. On top of that, you're talking about they had a day off from Monday's disaster. It's a chance for the Bulls to rest up a little bit, get their minds right, get their energy levels up, and go and handle business on the road Wednesday. And all of that leading to a game against, record-wise, the worst team in the league, the Houston Rockets, who came in with one measly fucking win on the season. One! Not even two! One! So the Bulls are trying to play big boy basketball, and the Rockets are just trying to double their win total from 1 to 2! 1 to 2! So hell yeah, I was feeling pretty confident that the Bulls would be able to make this kind of a get-right game for them. Cleanse that Monday night performance out of their bowels and handle business on the road against the Rockets. And that's what I get, huh? I didn't start off badly, and I do want to take exception to what Stacey King and Adam Amin were talking about during the broadcast. They kept talking about how the Bulls didn't come out with the right energy in the first half and how they've got to be ready to play from Jump Street. I have to kindly ask, what the fuck game were they watching? Because the Bulls in the first half were pretty good. Now, you might have been expecting them to come out and handle the Rockets by 20 or 25 points in the first half, but the reality is that's not always how it's going to be. Especially in this league, as teams take a lot of three-point shots now, it can be a lot harder to put teams away early, especially even bad teams if they're hitting some threes. The Bulls' first half performance was perfectly fine. Now, granted, it meant that the Rockets were still in striking distance for the second half, but the first half was not the problem. It was in particular the goddamn third quarter, but more on that in a moment. Because you look at it in the first quarter, the Bulls were up after 32-20. So what the fuck are they, 32-30. They were up. Yeah, it wasn't by much. But again, it's the point of, you've got Vucevic trying to feel his way back into the lineup. The Rockets are a young, hungry team trying to get their second win of the season. They're hitting some shots. You know, Jalen Green was being an explosive force the first quarter. It's okay to have a close first quarter on the road. Like, it's tough to win in the NBA on the road, and even against shitty teams. I mean, Jalen Green, they really didn't have any defensive answers for in the first quarter. He had 11. That dude is going to be fucking special, I tell you. So damn explosive. Christian Wood had 10, so those two guys were leading the way for Houston, and, you know, that's part of the reason why they were only down 2 after 1. Ball was the leader out of the gate with 11 in the first quarter. DeRozan had 6. Levine and Ayo with 5 each, including that nasty dunk by Ayo. He pushed his shit at it. He said, "Take that, bitch. Ayo face." Yeah. But the Bulls got even better in the second quarter. They were up 64-55 at the half. So please tell me why the fuck the first half was such a problem, Stacey King and Eddie Mameen. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. It doesn't. Sure, I would have liked to have seen them be up 15 or 20, but they weren't. But they're still up 9 at the half. That's not exactly scrub shit there. Because it wasn't like Houston was playing terrible basketball either. Lonzo had 17 at the half to lead the Bulls. Levine had 14, 9 for Vucevic, 8 for Ayo. Chicago was 9-16 from 3 in the first half. For the Rockets, Christian Wood slowed down in the second quarter, but he's still leading the way with 12. Şengün certainly came off the bench and gave them some juice. I still can't for the life of me figure out why the Oklahoma City Thunder were willing to trade away the rights to somebody like Şengün to the frickin' Rockets for one rebuilding team to another. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Şengün is going to be really goddamn good. And in general, this young Houston core, like, if you think about it, if you're a big-name free agent in the next year or two, you should strongly be considering the Houston Rockets. Their young core of guys like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Şengün, Christian Wood, that's a nice young core. Talking about a team that's going to have cap space eventually when they figure out what the hell happened with John Wall or his contract expires, whatever comes first. Talking about a team as well that's got a ton of draft capital, no state income tax. Now, this is going to be an appealing spot. You're in a top 4, market in the country. Houston's the 4th biggest city, metropolitan area. So there's a lot of appeal here. Anyways, it was tough for the Rockets in the second quarter because they had to adjust to Jalen Green wasn't in the lineup because he was out for the rest of the game after the first quarter due to a lower left leg injury, apparently, whatever happened. But the Bulls are up 9. And I'm feeling good at this point because I'm saying, they haven't dominated them or blew them out, but they didn't have Jalen Green the rest of the way. The Bulls were up 9. Knowing that the Bulls shouldn't have a letdown after what happened Monday night, like they'll be ready, they'll be good coming out in the third quarter. So again, I asked Stacey King and Adam Amin, what in the fuck are you talking about? Because it was the third quarter that was the problem. It was the third quarter that was the difference in the game. It was in the third quarter that, in honor apparently of preparing for what we were going to see on Thanksgiving, we saw some Bears football, Bulls basketball style, baby! As that was atrocious. The Rockets outscored the Bulls 35-18 in the third. And it wasn't like they were letting a Christian Wood or somebody like that go off, or if Jalen Green had been in the game, it'd be something like if you're talking about this elite level young talent was going off and making all the difference. It was the role players on this damn Rockets team that were killing them. Daniel House and Garrison Matthews. Like, they were killing the Bulls. It was the Rockets bench that did the damage on this night. The Bulls got outscored 35-18 in the third. That can't happen. That just can't happen. And, you look at the Bulls, and there's a lot of things I'll criticize here in a moment, but the bottom line is that second half was shit. And the Rockets deserved to win the game, and they ultimately did. They outscored the Bulls 63-49 in the second half. They end up winning, getting their second victory of the season over Chicago, 118-113. Now the Bulls have lost 2 consecutive games against 2 bad teams, or at least you can say with Indiana, a team that had gotten off to a rough start. But Houston's arguably the worst team in the league. Young, exciting, with upside, but the worst goddamn team in the league. And they go on the road in the Toyota Center in Houston and lay this type of egg? The fuck's going on here? Houston's bench was absolutely the difference in this matchup. They outscored Chicago's 59-26. Daniel House led that great bench attack for Houston with 18 points. Garrison Matthews with 12. Alperen Şengün with 13. He was nice. He was nice. Their bench was 11-19 from 3. There are too many missed defensive rotations, too many situations where the Bulls, when Stacey King talks about KYP, know your personnel, he didn't fucking know who to drop off of, who to rotate onto, who to allow to take the outside shot. It was bad. And you're going to look at somebody like Zach LaVine and say, like, oh, he had 28. Like, he had a good game. Did he really, though? Did he really? Like, Lonzo Ball didn't do shit in the second half. Lonzo's game, he's a great facilitator. That full-length court pass that he had to LaVine where LaVine mossed dude, like, that was pretty nice. He's a great facilitator, fantastic perimeter defender, versatile defender, and he's a decent spot-up shooter from 3. He can get to the hole sometimes too, but there's no real mid-range game with Lonzo Ball. It's either he's got to get to the hoop for his offense or he's got to spot up from 3. You see that a lot. He misses a lot of mid-range jumpers because of the hitch in his shooting motion. Like, his shooting motion got better, but he's still got a hitch. And until he works on that and improves that, he'll always be suspect from anywhere else outside of being a spot-up three-point shooter. Another big problem for this Bulls team is, I'm not going to give Vucevic too much grief because he's been out for almost 2 weeks, but combination of him and DeRozan, they were only 12 of 35 combined from the field. Like, that's not going to get it done even against a team like the Houston Rockets on the road. You cannot have that. You cannot have that. This is a game where your star players needed to be star players to set a tone and lead the way, and they failed. Period. But as much as I look at this and I want to look at the players, I'm going to look at Billy Donovan again and say, once again, his lineup decisions were fucking stupid. Why did you have Vucevic in so many spots where he had to defend somebody like a Christian Wood? He can't hang with that dude on the perimeter. You got to pick and choose your spots better. Why did Derrick Jones Jr. only get 11 minutes in this game? You had Vucevic coming back. Like, the matchup is kind of there. Like, you almost wanted to say Vucevic should have been matched up more one-on-one just against Şengün, and it should have been Derrick Jones Jr. that you're deploying against Christian Wood. How the fuck does Derrick Jones only get 11 minutes? Meanwhile, Kobe White gets almost 15. To do what? To do what? Shoot like shit, play horrible defense, not be a facilitator or creator of any kind? Get over this fucking Kobe White fixation. It's not happening, dumbass! Now, here's one thing with the Indiana game. The Pacers were hungry. The Bulls had just come off of beating the Knicks the night before, coming off of a 5-game road trip to the West Coast. Like, I get that you're going to have nights like this. So I did talk about in that game recap that there's no reason to panic or worry. After Wednesday night's game, it's not a reason to panic, but it is a problem, and it is something to worry about a little bit because these are the types of games they can't afford to lose. And especially after Monday night, you would have expected this Bulls team to come out on Wednesday and play a whole lot better, and they fell apart in the second half. Oh, it didn't start well. What the fuck are you talking about? I see a team that got outscored 35-18 in the third quarter and let the bench and let guys like Garrison Matthews and Daniel House Jr. light their ass up. Like, that can't happen. And that's not okay. You can sit there and point to, well, they got the Magic on Friday and the Magic stink. Well, at this point in time, what the fuck makes you think they'll beat Orlando? Was Franz Wagner going to sit there and destroy their ass? That's probably going to happen. Like, holy shit. This is not good. And I blame some of it on the lineup decisions, again, of Billy Donovan. Stop playing Kobe White so much. Every minute that Kobe White plays in the fourth quarter is a fucking stupid wasted minute. He brings nothing, you assholes! So stop putting him in these spots. Gotta pick and choose your spots with him. And that 15 minutes that he played, like I said, he brought nothing to the table. Multiple missed shots. He's not somebody that's going to create for others. He's a terrible defender. The fuck is he out there for? How in the hell did you only manage to get 11 minutes for Derrick Jones Jr. in a game that seems perfectly suited for him facing off against somebody like a Christian Wood? Ease Vucevic back into the lineup. KYP, know your personnel. Anyways, it was a bad night of Bulls basketball. Catching that fever of Bears football. They better take this Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday and get their fucking minds right, because they need to come out on Friday against Orlando and handle that damn business.